Tavin will mow your grass and make it look so well. Now Tavin goes donut goals when in town he comes, getting strength for his haunches to cannonball for fun. Tavin, ramping up the holler, Tavin, trying to make a dollar, Tavin, give him a holler, he'll mow your grass today.
Welcome to the Tavin Dillard Podcast, y'all guys. You found me. I'm Tavin Dillard, and this is the Tavin Dillard Podcast. It's very much like a radio shows, where you listen with your ears, but you ain't got to look at something. Now, that don't mean it ain't on the YouTubes, but there was a time where I videoed the podcast. Well, here's how it went, y'all. Truth be told, I did not do a video to podcast. Then I did do a video to podcast, and now I don't do a video to podcast. It's just a little more work, and not that many people was really watching it, you know, on the YouTube. So it just wasn't, it didn't make, you know how in life you got to make decisions on the use of your time kind of thing, and you think, well, you're going to record it anyway. Well, yeah, but you got to set up a camera, and then from what I hear from, you know, who works on the editing or whatever, you know, a lot of video take up space, and you got to have hard drives, and all of a sudden you lead into this and that, and didn't make sense. So anyhow, you can listen to it on the YouTubes, and you just looking at like a still picture. It ain't moving like a video or like a motion picture. You heard of motion pictures. It's 20/24. So if it was 19 and 24, you probably might have heard the rumors of the motion pictures, but maybe you ain't seen one yet. But by now they've been out a while. You had time to watch one. Don't matter no how. This is the podcast where I just tell you what's going on in my neck of the woods this week. I got Tavin's Lawn Care Services. I'm a mowing, edging, grass cutting legend. And we heavily doodled into the seasons 11 of this podcast. I give updates every week right now on my adult league softball team, Team Burger Shed. In case you're wondering, we are 9 wins to 5 losses to 1 ties so far this season. We're really cranking. I'm telling you. I mean, sure, we lost last week, and you can pause this if you want to go listen to last week's episode. But we turned out 12 runs, which most nights that puts you in the win column, but you know, not last week. You know, we got kind of buried in the hole a little bit, and we had to try to claw our way out, and we didn't quite make it. But 12 runs is a pretty good showing the way I see it. Let's see what else. I got a story about a reasonably cool evening on the water. I went out there with JT Whitlow this week to do a little fishing. But before I get to that story and a team softball, Team Burger Shed, you know, softball update, I do want to say that thank y'all for reaching out during the week. You know, folks text me and on the text messaging machines or however you do it, and then email and all that kind of thing. And, you know, last week I told the story of my dream. You know, Chris had emailed and asked about the dream. I told about the Buffalo Loafers dream, and I also posted a video about that dream last week's. And you can see it on the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the YouTubes and the TikToks, and you're probably like, well, Tavin, you on all them platforms? I am. Now, TikTok, it's the biggest audience, like 500,000 followers on the TikToks, but barely anybody is over there anymore watching my videos. They watching something, I guess, but they ain't watching my videos. So I don't have a lot of interaction on the TikTok, but I still post over there. And then the YouTubes has never been that big for me. I mean, if we're looking at numbers like 24,000 subscribers, it's a goodly amount, but compared to 500,000 on the TikTok, right? Instagram's like 370,000. That has been the most active for me probably the last 2 years. Like, there's a lot of people leaving comments, getting a lot of views on the videos over there. But here recently, the numbers started dropping on Instagrams, and in Facebook's is growing a lot. So now that's like 100,000 fans over there on the Facebooks. So it's kind of all over the place, but I'm on all 4 of them platforms. So if you take a gander into the internet web world, you could find me over there. Hope you enjoy what you see. You'll see me talking about the Buffalo Loafer's dream, you know, and there's plenty of donut videos to boot and all kind of things. So I'm doing that during the week, you know, little videos, 15, 20, 30, 40-second kind of things. And then I do this, which we already have well established is the Tavin Dillard podcast. Once a week, every Tuesdays, this comes out since September's 2021. So we just passed I think that's the 3-year mark of doing these every week. How long are you going to do it for, Tavin? I don't know. But we here today, and that's a good thing. I did get another email this week, and usually I just wait and I do what they call a Q&A at the end of the season, where y'all send all kinds. I ask for the questions, y'all send them in, and the whole entire episode is me answering y'all's questions, kind of thing. Well, in a minute, I just wanted to read one that came in the last week or so from Tommy, and just thought I'd throw Tommy's in there. Last week I had one, when somebody asked about the dream, Chris did, so I don't mind sprinkling them in. It's like, boy, I can't talk to y'all's and answer y'all's emails except on the Q&As. I mean, that's mostly where I like to have them done, but it don't hurt none. So I'm going to get to that in a second. Just want to draw your attention to what they call housekeeping in the podcast world. Actually, I think they borrowed that from housekeeping in the regular world. You take care of it. Boy, we gotta vacuum the carpet. We gotta dust the mantle, kind of thing like that. We gotta dust the baby doll shelves. Be careful with Rachel Christine. That kind of thing. But show notes today. The show notes is where you find links and how to get in touch with me, because if you on a jog, or you in the grocery store listening to this, or you in your car driving, or wherever you are where you listen to podcasts at, you might not have a pen and a pad handy to write down places, so you can go later and look it up, wherever you're listening, and there's just a little show notes, and then you can click on them links, like, oh, Tavin said he does this. Like, well, what? Well, personal video greetings. I've been doing them. Folks got birthdays coming up, that kind of thing. Like, oh, can I get one of them? So, yeah, you can. And I'll put a link in the show notes today, and it'll take you right to it on all the details about a personal video greeting that I can do for you and yourn. So that's an option. What else is going to be in the show notes? Cruise with Tavin. I have teamed up with Cool Panda Travel Company and Norwegian Cruise Lines. Now, all of us, we working together. I got a cruise next year, October's 2025, and you know as well as I do, if you listen to this on the day it come out, it's October's 2024, so we 12 months out now, this cruise. And apparently, you gotta sign up and get the information, start planning, getting it up. There's a lot of information. If you go to cruisewithtavin.com, you can see everything we do in every day of the week on our cruise next year. But it's time to sign up. We got an informational meeting coming up. You want to get on board with that and just get all your questions answered. It's going to be a hoot of a time. It's like the ultimate meet and greet, 1 week meet and greet. Boy, we doing the Western Caribbean, Cozumel, leaving out of New Orleans. You can hold a baby sloth. You can zip line on the cruise ship. They got water slides on the cruise ship. They got swimming pools. They got buffet, food, comedy, movies. We got a Family Feud night hosted by yours truly. So all my friends that are on the cruise, we're going to be having a hoot of a time. So I want you to check that out. So you'll see that in the show notes today too, cruisewithtavin.com. Other than that, I'll put a link to my merch and shirts. I mentioned several times we discontinuing 6 shirts, and so you can check those out. And it's going to be linked to all the shirts. The ones that are going away are the maroon, like this away, like that away, the bacon only recipe shirt, BO sandwich, and then the Butter Bacon 2024, that's an election year shirt. So once that's sold out, it's gone. And then what else? Wear it, share it, then wear it. That's the watermelon helmet shirt, turkey salmon, and the Tavin Dillard podcast is a black shirt, says Tavin Dillard podcast on. Them 6 is going. When they sold out, and they sold out. If we don't have your size, it's gone. But if you check today and it's still there, today's the day to get them out of them 6. And then of course you see all my other shirts there that ain't being phased out. And I did a poll last week on the Instagram stories, a vote on a new shirt that may be coming out. Most people, when I talk to people, like face to face or talk to friends, I was like, hey, blue or black? Everybody, family, friends, Mima, said black shirt. But the polls with y'all guys on Instagrams said the blue shirt. It's the same design on it, but are we gonna make it in black or blue? And it looks like folks is leaning toward blue. but that ain't out yet. So anyways, check the show notes today. You can see how to get a personal video greeting from me. You can see all the details on the cruise and how to get information on that. And then you can see the link to all my shirts. And I got hats and hoodies too, same link. So you'll see them all there. You can kind of peruse, as they say. So outside of that, shoot me an email at tabandillard@gmail.com. I'm going to be going to, I got a private show in November, which is now next month. But if you got a venue and you want to do, you want me to, live Tabin show, we can work out them details. tabandillard@gmail.com is a way to get in touch with me on that. And then also you can text message me. That's 501-322-6249. You'll see that in the show notes today too. So all of those things is how you can get in touch, get plugged in, get more involved if you want to be. And if you just want to listen to the podcast, well, hey, I want to say right now, congratulations, gold star to you, because you're in the middle of doing that right now. I appreciate you being here. And let me get to that email I mentioned a little bit ago, and then we can get into that, everything else that went this week, me and JT Whitlow's trip. You ain't gonna believe it, but I'm telling you, I was there for it. And then also Team Burger Shed and how things went down to softball field. So Tommy said, hey, Tabin, this is Tommy. Now, hey, Tommy, I hope you're having a good day so far. I am. Thank you. Appreciate that. So I have a question. I meant to ask the question for the Q&A, but forgot. Yeah, boy, you're a little late, buddy, but that's okay. That's what I said. I can sprinkle them in. Anyway, my question is, does your fare have fried cheese on a stick? Yep, I've seen that there at the thing. That's basically, you go to some of them restaurants, they got what they call like a mozzarella sticks. I think the Sonic has it too, where, it's fried cheese. And then you dip it in that sauce or whatever, that red sauce. What is that, like pescetti sauce or kind of thing? But I guess if it's on a stick, yeah, you dip it like a corn dog. Anyhow, that's always, Tommy says, that's always the best food me and my family get at the fair. We can't get it anywhere else, so it's a tradition to get fried cheese on a stick when the fair comes around. Now, that might just be a thing in my area. I live in Northwest Texas. No, I seen it, Tommy. And like I said, I think Sonic's got the baby versions of that. So if you just can't wait till the county fair, I bet you can roll through there. Probably doesn't taste quite as good, but boy, anything hot out the grease, buddy, got a good flavor to it if you ask me. And then, Tommy has a request. Also, can you give a shout out to my mom, Debbie, in your podcast? If you don't do shout outs, that's okay. Anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your day. No, Tommy, I don't do shout outs. I ain't going to mention your mom, Debbie, in my podcast. I'm just kidding. I done already mentioned it twice. Hey, Debbie, that's 3 times. All right, buddy. We moving on now. Thanks for the email, Tommy. He emailed me, over to tabandillard@gmail.com, and that's how that go. All right. JT Whitlow this week, he was done with his work, and he lives in Chancellor Park, which is the trailer park I'm from too. And he's sitting on his porch at Chancellor Park, and he's seen me. I lived there, he lived there, I'm outside, he outside. I seen him, he seen me. It's easy to do if we're both out on our porch, and that's what I'm telling you was what happened. I was sitting on the porch, and I looked across the ways at the end of a long work day, and JT's over there, and so he looked at me, and he want to go, hey, why don't we do some fishing, And I was like, buddy, I got a Ford Ranger, I got a little bit of time tonight. We had a game to play too, a softball game this week, but we ain't played it yet. This is pre-softball game, and I'm a no-pro fisherman, so when I go fishing, I got to know there's a sure thing that I can count on. I can't always count on catching a fish, y'all guys. You know how that is. You can't get into the mind of the fish and know what to expect from them. But I do know that if I bring snacks, I can eat them. Well, JT says, yeah, well, I'm going to bring something. Well, JT brought jelly beans. He wanted to bring jelly beans. You know about jelly beans? Well, okay. I mean, that's fine, but I got hot fries. I got bacon. I got peanut butter jelly. I got pimento cheese, some crackers. I can dip, the pimento cheese. That stuff's going to fill you up. Okay, if you're hungry, everything I just listed going to fill you up. But jelly beans? Come on, JT. What else did he bring, you might be asking? I mean, that's fine. He liked got a little sweet tooth, so he got a few jelly beans for the order. But what else did he bring, you asking me? Well, y'all guys, I'm trying to tell you right now. He didn't bring nothing else. JT brought some jelly beans to go fishing, and I brought everything I just listed to you, you know. I mean, it ain't hot. You know, it's not like you're going to need to be cooled off all the time. It's a nice, cool evening, but you need some sustenance so that you just ain't hungry and kind of like, you know, get a little wobbly out there because you ain't ate after a good work day. As a no-pro fisherman, like I said, I do bring them snacks, so I'm ready. I'm just pretty sure JT ain't, but it ain't my job. You know, I ain't JT's mama, nothing like that. I mean, if he want to bring jelly beans to a fishing trip and that's it, that's on him is what I say. So we get out there to the water. Now, this ain't the lake where Fishing Clips is. It's farther out of town than that. Been a while since I've been to this spot. Plenty of shade, but it's evening, so sun's going down, and the shade ain't really the thing you're looking for at that point. I mean, basically, if you're fishing, you're looking for fish. We get out there, and we kind of, you know, you got to park and then hike to the water. You know about them fishing holes? You know about them fishing holes where you got to drive to get out there to them? You kind of got to work for this kind of thing. It ain't just something to come right to you. You don't just open the front door to your trailer and look out and like, oh, there's a beautiful pond I'm going to fish in. Not in my trailer park. So we had to hike it out there in my 93 Ford Ranger. It's running pretty good, you know. I got it here recently, and it's going well. So we get out there, but then you park that thing. Once you get out near that lake, you got to park that thing, and then you got to hike out to the water. I mean, we talking quarter mile, half mile. You know, it ain't like, oh, you just jump out and, boy, you at the water and you can just back up your tailgate to it and sit on that and fish in the water. That ain't happening. No, we hiking to it. So all of a sudden, if you wasn't hungry already, but by the time you park that truck and by the time you hike out to the water, you start feeling a little peckish, you know. JT, he gets on there and he thinks he sees an alligator. Now, there's been gators in our area once or twice, but they like talking to town. This ain't no, you know, I'm in Arkansas. I ain't in the Florida Everglades where you're like, oh, there's another gator. Let him cross the street and then we can get home from the grocery store. It's like if we see one in our area, folks is talking about it, you know. So it's one of them things where he's sure he sees a gator. Now, some folks run away from gators. Just like when you see a snake, there's just folks that don't want to be near snakes, and so they automatically run. Spiders, mouse, you know, different things for different folks, and some folks run from all that. And then there's the other folks that kind of run to them things. Like, oh, is that a snake? Let me go see if I can pick him up, you know, kind of thing. You know who you are. And then some stand by and watch. And I'm kind of that guy, but I do kindly back away a little bit. So I'm in between running away and standing there and watching. I kind of watch as I slowly back away. Like, it's too, you know, I'm a curious fella. You know, how's this going to go down? I don't want to leave the whole scene, but I don't want to be in the middle of it neither. So that's how I am. So JT is moving toward what he thinks is a gator in the water. I guess he's ready to make the news or something. So he gets close, and I kid you not, he gets on that the bank of that little lake there, and he jump on top of this gator that's steady just kind of floating on the surface of the water like that way. He's trying to headlock the thing. Because you know how somebody do, where they bring that elbow back, you know, just pointy side out. I mean, that's the only side of the elbow. I mean, I guess you got the inside elbow. I don't know what that's called. It's like your elbow pit. It's like an armpit, but the front way side. But it ain't that side I'm talking about right now. He pulled that pointy part back, the elbow, the bone part, and you know, like you about to reach back, and then you're going to wrap it under the neck or whatever you're going to headlock, and then you're going to pull that fist up toward your chin because you about to strangle this thing that you headlock or whatever it is or whoever it is. How big was this gator, you asking? Well, it wasn't. It wasn't what, Tavin? It wasn't big? No, it wasn't a gator. It was a log. I could see how somebody might think it was a gator for a little bit, but it was not at all. JT Whitlow got in there after a log. So here's the deal, y'all. Before we even start fishing, old Jellybean JT is wet head to toe, and if there was any fish in that area when we got there, there sure ain't now. He done scared them off. I mean, he jumped right in that water thinking he could headlock a gator, and for what, I do not know. Insult to injury, JT's jelly beans was in his pocket. So now they wet too. Wet pocket full of jelly beans. I don't even know what JT was going to do with a gator in a headlock. It's kind of like he didn't think that thing through, or maybe he did think it through, and all he was hoping for was a gator in a headlock. Well, then he almost won, except it was a log. But all he ended up with was a splinter from a log and a pocket full of wet jelly beans, And so he's sitting on the bank, soaked, with his hand open, where it looks like a rainbow exploded in his hand. Them jelly beans are running everywhere, at least the colors are. I asked him what the plan is. Well, JT, he still wants to fish. He knows what we out there for. So in his mind, it's like, well, yeah, we had a little detour here, but here's the lake. We got our gear. Let's do some fishing. I'm like, well, okay. You know, I don't know how many fish are, you know, stayed in the area after that little circus, but that's what I was there to do too. So let's get after it. So we get our rigs out and we get all set up, you know. I'm getting better, you know, at getting my whole rod and reel set up and figured out and, you know, all that kind of thing. I still get hung up on stuff and bird nested a little bit, but, you know, you can't win every day. So I cast a line into the water and a weight. And then I wait a little more. And I ain't got a lot of patience, but I waited a little more. And then I got hungry. I mean, we've been through a lot already. Good thing, like I mentioned, is that I brought the snacks. That's what I do. I'm a no-pro fisherman. So I break them snacks out. You know, just a few at a time. You got to pace yourself. I mean, if you're a pro snacker like me, you know that there's a certain schedule you want to keep. You don't want to be too hasty. You don't want to eat it all up front. You know, there's certain things you want to eat first, things you want to save, all that. You kind of got to have a plan. I mean, we really do. And I didn't even want to share nothing with JT because I know what I brought. And I know who I brought it for. It's for me, Tavin Dillard. That's me. And I bring the stuff I want to eat. Now, you may not be like this, but if I go out with somebody and they say, oh, what'd you get? Can I have a bite? I'm thinking, no, you can't have no bite. I ain't the guy that shares everything on my plate. I bought what I wanted to eat. You know why? So that I could eat it. And so you can imagine me and Cricket, we going round and round. I had to get better at that if we go on a date. And she's like, oh, can I try that? Well, firstly, Cricket, the good chance is we had a buffet. So you can actually go pick your own from there and come back and try it here at the table. But I had to learn, boy, I gotta shut my mouth on that. But I'm telling you, with JT, I'm thinking, buddy, I'm out here. I brought the snacks I wanted to bring. You brought the jelly beans you wanted to bring. They exploded in your pocket because you all wet trying to headlock a log. And here we are. And now you peekabooning over at my snack like, a peekaboo, what's over there, bank, bank? Well, it's me and all the snacks I brought to enjoy as I try to wait for a fish to bite. So, here we are. JT Whitlow is not prepared with the snack category. Now, I ain't trying to punish him, don't hear me say that, but I am ready to eat them snacks that I brought for Tavin Dillard. That's me. That bacon smells so good right out the bag, them Tavin's bacon bags. I had a little bit of that. The pimento cheese, buddy. I got a little soda cracker and dipped in it. Got some pimento cheese up, but it really hit the spot. Little bite of bacon, cheese on cracker, buddy, is good. JT cast his line out in the water and he's waiting. All the while, he's waiting on that, you know, just seeing if anything gonna bite. He's shooting these sideways glances at my snacks. I can see it out of my periphery. He looking over there like, buddy, you know, I know what he's thinking about. He ain't saying it out loud, but I see his eyeballs and I think, buddy, that guy's side-eyeing my snacks that I brought. Come on, JT. Well, y'all guys, I ain't a Grinch, nothing like that. I offered JT some bacon. Now, that's a big deal. I really like the Tavin's bacon from the Tavin's bacon bag, and I really can eat a bag all by myself, but I didn't. I gave him some. And then he starts fishing. So the good thing about JT starting to catch some fish is that now he's occupied. He ain't just thinking about his rumbly tummy. Now he's seeing some fish come out that water. So he got a couple little ones. I end up snacking so long that I barely get my line back in the water. I kind of pulled it out to take a break. I got tired of waiting and got sidetracked with them snacks. All of a sudden I know, oh, I got to get my line back in the water. Because I do enjoy the whole process. I enjoy the process because once I got the snacks, buddy, I can wait even longer. If I don't have snacks, buddy, and I don't get a bite in 5 minutes, it's going to be a hard day on the water. It's going to be hard. If you with me, I'd probably make it hard on all of us because I just get so impatient. I really do. I don't catch nothing. And JT ain't really dried off much because it's evening time and the sun's almost gone and he's head to toe wet from trying to headlock a log that he thought was a gator. And I mean, he went full body right into the water. We didn't tiptoe or nothing, but he just kind of DDT, like he really kind of top roped, elbow dropped that thing, you know, like it was full on wrestling match in his mind. So I get old JT, old wet JT, he left the jelly beans at the water. I get him into my truck because we basically done. Like my snacks is wrapping up, and you know, it's getting dark, and he ain't drying off. And if we was gonna wait for that, we would have been there all night and next day too. So I get him back to the truck, and we headed back. Now I don't know if that's much of a fishing story. I have a hunch that JT was hoping it'd be more of a gator story, but that didn't happen neither. So that's how the fishing went. Basically enjoyable. You know, I got some things that I might change if I got to write that story a little better. You know, we go back and I could say, hey, JT, maybe think about that before you jump in the water. But, you know, I don't control JT. And I did get to have my snacks. Of course, JT got to have some of my snacks too. So I don't know exactly what he thought, but if it was a win-win or a 50-50 tie or whatever. But next night we had a game. Team Burger Shed has a game. You know JT Whitlow's on Team Burger Shed. He basically plays second base most of the times. Myron Curtis will rotate in there. We have him at short sometime. Rusty Tidwell's almost always at third. Now, you know Russell Tucker, he kind of like the manager. He pitch. He do some catching. Anyways, he switched up the lineup a little bit sometimes. But anyways, we had a game to play. That's all you need to know. JT, he had a full day to wash his hands and dry off and get that jelly bean off his hand kind of thing. If JT is as focused on the game as he is on catching a log, buddy, we're going to do fine. We're going to do just fine. Before the game, I remember that I had told Millie Ricks that I would have supper with her. And if you know Millie Ricks, you're thinking, Tavin, there's no way in the world where you would do that. Listen here, as a lawn mowing man, I get into all kind of conversations, and somehow at some point I agreed to stop by Millie's for a light supper before the softball game. I hate eating before a game. You know, I got to have my mind steady focused. We getting toward the end of the season. We want to be in the playoffs, and we want to have a long run into the playoffs, and I don't want to have stuff on my tummy. And you know how it goes at the concession stand. I ain't getting into them nachos or even them hot butter dinner rolls that Mary Beth Tucker brings. Sometimes it's softer than a baby angel's leg. I don't like to get into none of that before the game. Now, after the game, I got an appetite. I'll end up down at the Burger Shed with a bacon double cheeseburger in my hand, some curly fries and Dr. Pepper. But before, I don't really do that. But anyhow, I agreed. At some point, I agreed, and maybe I didn't realize it was going to be a game night, but here I am. So Millie answered the door in a welding mask, and she don't even weld. She had a couple styrofoam containers on her table. They looked like old orders of Meals on Wheels. You know how folks will deliver them meals on wheels. Basically, the wheels is people drive it to your house because you like a sick or shut in or elderly or whatever. You need some help. And so they do that. And I appreciate that they do that in the town. And I've helped with it before too. But I recognize them things. I'm like, that looks like a meal on wheel, you know, and twos of them on her table there. So she had me sit and kindly push one of them containers to me. So now in my head, I'm putting it together like, oh, she about to serve me this for suppers. She ain't got something in the oven or a stovetop that she about to pull off, made fresh, you know, from scratch kind of thing. It's like Millie's pushing toward me a styrofoam container, which tells me rightly away that she probably didn't make this meal, which that ain't bad. I mean, there's a lot of goodly meals you can get that ain't made by the person whose house you in. But anyhow, that styrofoam, you know, on that container, it looked melted like she tried to warm the whole thing up in the microwave. So that's what I'm dealing with. Millie's got 2 pet possums now, but don't tell her that. She won't admit it. But one she's had, you know, that's Possum Keith, and the other Shane Grubbs found. He brought it to her. She may not keep that one. I don't know her plan, but I'm knowing that she got 2 possums at her house right now. She slides that meal across the table to me, and she just says, "Eat up." So I'm like, buddy, this is real. Like, she really is passing me off this melted styrofoam container, Meals on Wheels meal that I don't know when she got it. I don't know how long she had it. I don't know the story behind it, but I'm almost positive that's what she feeding me. It's old Meals on Wheels. I popped the lid on that container, y'all guys, and there's a picked over piece of cornbread with a fake fingernail sticking out of it. What in the world, Millie? There's some green beans, more juice than beans. Looks like roast beef with ketchup on it, and the ketchup is hot, buddy. Not spicy hot, microwave hot. So not only do I have got an old Meals on Wheels meal wheel here, did I say that right? An old Meals on Wheel meal? It looks like Millie has already picked at it and messed with it, so I gagged down a piece of that roast beef with hot ketchup. It's bad, y'all. It's bad. Like, I posted a video last week on the Instagrams and the YouTubes and the Facebook and the TikToks where I made a fall craft, and at the end I thought it'd be a good idea to drink the juice out of a Vienna Wiener sausage can, and it wasn't a good idea. It was the same kind of gag. Same kind of gag when I'm trying to choke down this roast beef with hot ketchup on it in Millie Ricks' little living room there, or, you know, eater room, whatever you call it. Then Millie asked if I want butter on my cornbread. And I see behind her on the counter that baby Possum just licking a stick of butter. She pushes away from the counter to go get that butter, y'all guys. That Possum scurries away. Millie don't notice, and she just grabbed that butter, and she bringing it back to the table. I'm getting choked up and gagged up just talking about this one. The only thing I can think to do is push all that cornbread in my mouth because I didn't want to have anything that she thinks I need butter on to be around when she got there with that possum licked stick of butter. I ain't about to eat no wild possum licked butter. But what was I about to eat and did eat? It was a fake fingernail that was inside that cornbread. Come on, y'all guys, get me out of here. Like, I was so flustered that I didn't remember the fake fingernail till I done shoved all that cornbread and gagged it down. It was a little dry, but I got it down because I seen that butter coming at me, and I was like, I cannot try some possum licked butter. I don't know how to get out of this house right now. Then, just out of instinct, when she looked away, I shoved that roast beef in my pocket. I figured the sooner that meal disappeared, the sooner I could. Boy, it's been a week of folks shoving stuff in their pockets. Jelly beans, roast beef, you know, just the basics. So I got out of there, y'all, but it's gross. And I make it to the fields. And Mary Beth Tucker, she has salad tongs at the concession stand, pinching roast beef into bowls. Apparently, there's too many Meals on Wheels made this week, and they brought all the extras to the fields to sell them. And apparently a couple ended up at Millie Ricks' house, but we had like a surplus of roast beef in town, just put it to you like that. So Mary Beth's doing her part. That's when I remembered two things. Firstly, I have roast beef and ketchup in my pocket. And B, I forgot to put on my softball pants. Now I'm all out of whack. There wasn't time for me to get back to Chancellor Park to change, so I'm stuck playing in jeans that had roast beef in the pocket. Not for long, though. I threw that roast beef away, y'all guys. And we're playing Guthrie's Hunting Supply, and I ain't making excuses, and JT better not either. But we got 3 in the first inning, thanks to Russell Tucker and Rusty Tidwell. I scored 2. See, I was on second, and Rusty launched one. I'd already done stowed second base, head first, no big deal. So we still had the taste of last week's game in our mouth, that one we lost to McIntyre's Maintenance, 13-12, and we wasn't about to do that again. I'll tell you, we all hate losing, but boy, Rusty Tidwell hates losing. He hates losing streaks. So to think about losing back-to-back 2 weeks in a row, that's a hard pill to swallow right there. That's a hard piece of roast beef with ketchup on it to choke down kind of thing. So the foot was on the gas, and we wasn't about to let up. Even when Myron said he sprained his knee and he needed to go see Mary Beth Tucker to see if she'll help him out. You know, she worked at the veterinary, so she knows about injured animals. Hopefully she knows how that was going to translate to Myron Curtis's human knee. But anyhow, he was over there. Well, I guess he got fixed up, but we didn't see him for a few innings. And when he did come back, he got 2 pitches into that at bat, and he had to shuffle real swift like all the way to that park bathroom. Long story short, I'm glad I forgot about that roast beef and didn't eat it. That stuff is what tore Myron's tender guts up. So I don't know if there's some food poisoning or if it's just all the roast beef or whatever, or maybe it's just Myron, like he can't handle the roast beef. Like that's too spicy for him or whatever, I don't know. Anyways, we's down a player. Now, I don't know if that's like what Mort Dwydell has, where he can't have no dairy, like the milk trait Bahagini. Maybe there's something for roast beef eaters. The roast beef tolerance, I don't know. But we was down a player, but we didn't care tonight. Rusty Tidwell, like I said, he hates to lose more than anybody I know. So he kind of made sure we didn't by going 4 for 5 at the plate with 3 homers. I mean, Rusty was on fire. Team Burger Shed, y'all guys, listen here. We beat Guthrie's Hunting Supply 11-5. And now we are 10 wins to 5 losses to 1 tie. So we doubled as many games as we lost. We doubled it to the wins, 10-5-1. They talking playoffs soon, and I'll keep you updated on how those goes. We didn't get those free snow cones because Mary Beth Tucker didn't pick up the flavors from some event at the elementary school today. They did offer us free roast beef from Meals on Wheels, but that was a hard pass for me. Myron Curtis, too. He had his early. So it was a week. You know, I did some fishing, or at least I tried. I tried to have a meal with an elderly client of mine, and I got out of there before I had to touch any butter that was licked by a baby possum. And then we had a game at the softball fields, and we showed up, and we showed out, especially Rusty Tidwell. So I appreciate y'all joining me here on the Tavin Dillard podcast. Please don't forget them show notes. You're going to see all kinds of things that can lead to a whole bunch of fun, a whole bunch of refreshment and excitement. Could be the personal video greetings. That may be something you need for somebody. Check him out. Cruisewithtavin.com. You'll see the link. You can get all the information. Get signed up for that informational meeting that's coming on, like a Zoom call or something, so you can get your questions answered. And then, you know, the shirts, and then you'll see my phone number, 501-322-6249. Of course, you can always email me at tavindillard@gmail.com. So I appreciate y'all joining me here on the Tavin Dillard podcast. Thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, share it, all them kind of things. And hey, if you ain't tried to headlock a log this week thinking it was a gator and ended up with a pocket full of wet jelly beans and a splinter in your hand, you having a pretty good week. Me, I'm Tavin Dillard. This is the Tavin Dillard podcast. Till next time, y'all guys. We'll see you later.